filled with dismay. Laid along and fake too much, all the way through till the crumble. It too shattered down they go. Don't let 'em do it like that. You must know that I all things that made you weak. So
My guy Yoshio, welcome to the stream, bro. My guy! I gotta get this Twitch thing going on. I gotta get this Twitch thing. Story of Undertale. Oh, let me see. Is this? This is okay. Send something in chat right now. Someone send something in chat right now. It should work. I don't know what's going on. Settings. I want it to be this. Nine. Yeah. It's not working. Okay. Settings, connections. See. Okay, I'm going to the flippin'. Oh, let me get the flippin' Twitch thing open, because now I have to. Alright, if y'all got the emotes, put them in the chat. If y'all got the custom emotes, put them in chat right now. I'm testing y'all. Custom window for Twitch. Custom window. I might have to do that. That's what's not working. Alright, Black Ops and Yoshi. Alright, bet. Let me get this thing going because this thing ain't working. Okay. Twitch chat overlay.
Erode and destroy hearts of good souls in the dark, filled with dismay, laid along and fake too much, all the way through till the crumble. It too shattered down they go. Don't let 'em do it.
Going on. Alright, let's see if this will work. I'm gonna try typing something in chat. Let's see. It's showing, but it's not showing. Oh my gosh. Okay. What is
their favors. Lost and broken, afraid of changing the way of life. Amidst the flood, you grew unstumbled. Today
Oh.
we send down their door. Don't let 'em do it like that. You are stronger than all this that made you weak. So wake up from those sleep. Don't refuse to be free. Let go. Stop this reason to break out is in your mind. Take my hand, join the team. Gonna let the dead leaves fall down. Hey, it's time to rise up. Waiting around you need to stand up for yourself. Do mistakes on top with their lies. Remember that we got through.
Alright.
You are stronger than all this that made you weak. So wake up from those sleep. Don't refuse to be free. Let go. Stop this reason to break all this in your mind. Take my hand, join the team. Gonna let the dead leaves fall down. Hey, it's time to rise up.
I got it! It works! It works! It really, really works. Okay, it works. Who's still here? Alright, we're starting! We are starting Twitch. Let's freaking go. Do I still have it on Undertale? I should. Please. I should still have it on Undertale. Game capture. It's on Fortnite. But it's okay, because Undertale. It's Undertale. Like, oh, it's in true full screen. That means I can't see my chat. It's in true full screen. Okay. Man. Alright, well, I can still see my chat here. I'm gonna send it to the Yoshi Discord and see who joins. Hold up. I mentioned. Who mentioned me? Uh-oh. No. TV. We're doing Undertale, boys! Okay, bet. Alright, hold on. I gotta connect to somebody's stream. Alright, let's freaking go. Hold on. Gonna see if we can connect to somebody's stream. If we can. Twitch. TW, yeah, Twitch. Move to Twitch. If it shows, it's not. Hold on. We are doing a flipping Undertale. Alright, enough. Let's just get this started. Let's freaking go. Let's play some Undertale. Let's freaking go. Alright, we are. Hold on. This is a pacifist run, by the way. Hold on, I'm gonna flip in and do this thing real quick. Alright, bet. I think I remember all the story of Undertale. Yes. If you remember, good. If you don't remember, then that's it. That's a you problem. But now I have to use a flipping laptop as my flipping to see my chat. There we go. Alright, let's do this. Let's do this thing! It's getting in my way. I'm trying to get it so I can see. Okay, yeah, there we go, there we go. Yeah, that works. They struggle to make a retort and slink away. Other crud. No! Dang it. It's a fishing rod fixed to the ground. Reel it in. Yeah. All that's attached to the end is a photo of a weird looking monster. Call me. Here's my number. I gotta get the thing. I gotta get the thing. I have a soundboard. I'm live, bro. What? I'm live. Yes, I'm live. I'm live. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Alright, I got my, thing. Okay, now I gotta get the... This stream was just unprepared, guys. Yes. There we go. Yeah, I'm back to Undertale. Call me. Here's my number. I don't want to call you. You decide not to call. You are not have you. Yes, I do. I got two people. Have two people. Y'all, chat if you're still in here. See? Oh yeah, he said he'll be right back. Alright. Alright, flip. I'm about to. Alright, we gonna do Undertale. Let's go. Let's freaking go, bro. Alright, let's go. Uh-oh. Another one? Ice cap struts into view. Okay. Ignore. Ignore. Okay, I should... Yeah, you should be. I don't care, bro. Ice cap is desperate for attention. I'll spare you. Because there's 2 variants that I have to spare. So... Alright. Let's continue moving on. So, as I was saying about... Hold on. I gotta do the voice. 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 So, as I was saying about Undyne. I hate doing this. Sans. Oh my god, is that a human? I hate doing this. Actually, I think that's a rock. Oh. Hey, what's that in front of that rock? I hate this game. Oh my gosh! Is that human? Yes. Oh my gosh! Sans, I finally did it! I'm be so popular! Ahem! Human! You shall not pass this area! I, the good I can't speak! I can't speak! The good hate virus will stop you! I will then capture you! You will be delivered to the capital! Then, I'm not sure what's next. In any case, continue only if you dare! Well, that went well. Don't sweat it, kid. I'll keep an eye socket up for you. My mic is... Oh my gosh. That was funny. I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm going back. I can't do it, bro. I can't continue. I don't dare to continue, bro. I don't dare to continue. You know what? Face our fears. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this, bro. Let's do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. Alright, let's go. I know exactly what I need to do. I need a joke. Is that supposed to be funny? Yes, it was supposed to be funny. Shoot. Okay. Nice to meet you. Okay, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. I'll laugh. Yeah. Ah. Let's go. The bone guy.
Did something move? Wait, was it my imagination? I can only see moving things. If something was moving, for example, a human, I'll make sure it never moves again.
Doggo blocks the way. This is crazy. You know what? I feel like I might need a what I might do. Hold on. I'm gonna mute it. I'm gonna mute it real quick. Alright, hold on. Is it this one? So what I might do is, I honestly just like might, what am I gonna do? I am going to do something like a abridged version, like DBZ abridged. I might do all of the Super Mario World, all of the Super Mario shows, but they're abridged. And I might do it, and it's gonna be funny. I promise you. I'm obviously gonna be Yoshi. Like, there's no doubt. Well, I'm gonna be Toad. I'm gonna be Yoshi. I'm literally not gonna be Mario. I'm not gonna be the main character. But y'all, I need auditions to happen. Like, if it's gonna happen, I need auditions to happen. So, alright, I'll mute it. Alright, there we go. Doggo! I'll just like press spare because I can't do anything. Don't move an inch, okay? Now I want to voice act one of the episodes or something. That is something that I can do. I mean that we can do. Yes. Yes. Wait, you clicked it! He clicked it! I gotta see this. Thank you for clipping that! Thank you for clipping that! I have to check and see. Thank you for clipping that! I'm gonna put that on YouTube. Doggo can't seem to find anything. You know what? Let's pet him. Let's pet him. You pet Doggo. Let's freaking go, bro. What? I've been pet. Pet. It's over. So, something pet me. Something that isn't moving. I'm gonna need some dog treats for this. Oh no. Oh. I feel bad. He's addicted. Someone's been smoking dog treats. Oh. He's addicted. Hello? Is anyone there? No. Oh. Hey, it's Sans! Hey, here's something important to remember. My brother has a very special attack. Yeah, we just saw that. If you see a blue attack, don't move and it won't hurt you. Here's an easy way to keep in mind. Imagine a stop sign. When you see a stop sign, you stop, right? Stop signs are red, so imagine a blue stop sign instead. Simple, right? When fighting, think about blue stop signs. I'm not gonna spoil that because you guys probably don't have Deltarune. Y'all probably don't have Chapter 3 or Chapter 4. But if y'all watched it, Hello, I'm a snowman. I want to see the world, but I cannot move. If you will be so kind, traveler, please take a piece of me and bring it very far away. I gotta put that in my box, because if I don't, it's gonna be in my stomach. I promise you, I'm gonna eat the snow piece.
Yeah. Here we go! You're so lazy! You were napping all night!
I think that's called sleeping.
Excuses! Oh, the human arrives! In order to stop you, my brother and I have created some puzzles. I think you'll find this one quite shocking. For you see, this is the invisible electricity maze. When you touch the walls of this maze, this orb will administer a heavy zap. Sounds like fun, because the amount of fun you'll probably have is actually rather small, I think. Okay, you can go ahead now.
I don't think I want to, but okay.
Sans, what did you do?
I think the human has to hold the orb.
Oh, okay. Solve this, please!
Let's go. I'm failing on purpose.
It's totally a slippery snail! You solved it so easily! Too easily! However, the next puzzle will not be easy. It is designed by my brother Sans. You will surely be confounded. I know I am. I'm not laughing.
Oh, he twirled out of there. He did the Luigi twirl. Hey, thanks. My brother seems like he's having fun. By the way, did you see that weird outfit he's wearing? We made that a few weeks ago for a costume party. He hasn't worn anything else since. Keeps calling it his battle body. Man, isn't my brother cool? I don't understand why these aren't selling. It's the perfect weather for something cold.
Oh, a customer!
Hello, would you like some ice cream? I mean, it's the frozen treat that warms your heart. Now just $15, I guess. We're gonna get green. We're gonna get green. Let's go. We're gonna get green. Come on. No. We're gonna get green. 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 Oh, we got purple! Blue. Hopping and twirling. Your original style pulled you through. You are awarded 2 gold. That's crazy. I think what I have to do is leave it playing. Hold on, somebody chat. So I know y'all are still here. It looks like a snowball. Actually, it's a snow decahedron. That's crazy. Somebody please chat so I know you guys are still here. Because now there's only one person. Human! Okay, cool. Alright, let me do it.
Human! I hope you're ready for... Sans! Where's the puzzle?
It's right there on the ground. Trust me, there's no way they can get past this one. You know what? I'm actually gonna do it. Alright, hold on. I'm actually gonna do it. Hold on. I'm actually gonna do it. Because it's fine. I'm actually gonna do it. Alright, GIASFCLF. What? GIASFCLFU. Cigars. Skeleton is back. Yes, skeleton's backwards. Monster. Cigars. Where's spring? This one is wrong. But, so this one counts because it's wrong. We need, so we got fall, monster, cigar. We got sig. We got this one. We need hot. We need winter. We need spring. No, I already got spring. We need fall, winter, summer, mermaid, robot, and hot. I feel weird. Okay, robot. We got robot. What else? We got hot. So we got robot. We got hot. Mermaid. Where's mermaid? M-E-R. Yeah, I found mermaid. M-E-R-M-A-I-D. Mermaid. I found mermaid. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then now all I need is winter and spring. So winter, W-I-N-T-E-R. I found winter. Now we need summer. Now we need a double M. I need the M. S. Shoot. The double M is right here though. But there has to be a double M somewhere else. S. Oh god. S. I need an S and a U. That's a V. Cause U. This is U. Pause. And then oh, I don't think I can find summer. Oh no, this is actually hard. This is not baby bones. This is actually hard. S. E-R. S. Oh, bro. S. E-R. Oh my god, bro. I can't find an S. U. M. M. E-R. I found it! Let's go. Go. Sans, that didn't do anything. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Whoops. I knew I shouldn't have used today's crossword instead. What crossword? Oh, sorry, I didn't do the voice. My bad.
I can't believe you said that! In my opinion, Junior Jumble is easily the hardest! What? Really?
Dude, that's easy peasy word scramble. That's for baby bones.
Unbelievable! Human, solve this dispute!
Baby bones was harder, bro. Honestly, I've done a crossword before. The jumble's harder.
Ha! Ha! Yes! Humans must be very intelligent if they also found Junior Jumble so difficult!
I'm still not laughing, not yet. Thanks for saying Junior Jumble just to appease my brother. Yesterday he got stumped trying to solve the horoscope. Zodiac signs! He got stumped by He got stumped by zodiac signs, brother. Alright, let's go. Ooh, spaghetti, I want it. It's still cold, it's stuck to the table. I did eat a bite though. I'm gonna eat a bite. Hold on, oh no. I'm gonna eat a bite. Yum. Nom, it's gone. It's an unplugged microwave. All the settings say spaghetti. It's a note from Papyrus.
Human, please enjoy this spaghetti. Little do you know, this spaghetti is a trap, designed to entice you. You'll be so busy eating it that you won't realize that you are progressing. Thoroughly japed by the great Papyrus.
That's crazy. Papyrus. Because I'm not laughing. Yet. I'm not laughing yet. We did the jumble! We did the flippin' jumble. Alright, let's go. Woo! You know what? No. What's back there? Lesser Dog appears. So, I played the mobile port of Undertale, right? I played the mobile port, and I had this bad Android. Every single time I did Lesser Dog on, was it the actual Undertale? No, it was Undertale Bits and Pieces Mobile. Every single time I did Lesser Dog and I gave him Mercy, it always crashed because of the amount of RAM that I had. It just didn't work out. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, Lesser Dog, we can just pet him and then. Ah! Alright, let's go. Alright, let's go. Why is there snow here? Oh! Oh! I see. There's a switch hidden in the snow. Click. I love these guys. What's that smell? Where's that smell? If you're a smell, identify yourself. Here's that weird smell. Makes me want to eliminate you! Roll around. Dang, I moved. And then pet. I'm not dying. Let's go. Dogs can pet other dogs? A new world has opened up for us. Thanks, weird puppy. Ah!
What? How did you avoid my trap? And more importantly, is there any left for me?
What did you tell Papyrus about his spaghetti?
I ate it. Really? Wowie. No one's ever enjoyed my cooking before. Well, Fret Not Human, I, Master Chef Papyrus.
Master Chief reference, maybe?
Will make you all the pasta you could ever want.
There, you gotta laugh. Do not clip that. Do not clip that. I gave y'all a laugh. Do not clip that. I'm literally still in a flippin' thing. Dang, that's crazy. Alright, let's continue moving on. There's a switch on the trunk of this tree. Press it? Yeah, I'm gonna press it. Human!
How do I say this? You were taking a long time to arrive, so I decided to improve this puzzle by arranging the snow more to look like my face. Unfortunately, the snow falls to the ground. Now the solution is different, and as usual, my lazy brother is nowhere around. I suppose what I'm saying is, worry not, human. I, the great Papyrus, will solve this conundrum. Then we can both proceed. Meanwhile, feel free to try the puzzle yourself.
I'll try not to give away the answer. Watch this.
Wow, you solved it. You did it all without my help. Incredible. I'm impressed. You must care about puzzles a lot more like I do. Well, I'm sure you'll love the next puzzle then. It might even be too easy for you.
Good job on solving it so quickly. You didn't even need my help, which is great, because I love doing absolutely nothing.
Hey, it's the human! You're gonna love this puzzle. It was made by the great Dr. Alphys. You see, these tiles, once I throw this switch, they'll begin to change color. Each color has a different function.
I'm not reading this.
How is that? Understand?
Yeah, I understood that.
Then there's one last thing. This puzzle is entirely random. When I pull a switch, it will make a puzzle that has never been seen before. Not even I will know the solution. Get ready!
He's about to sell so badly. He's about to sell so badly. Actually, that spaghetti from earlier, it wasn't too bad for my brother. Since he started cooking lessons, he just kept up improving. I bet if he keeps it up next year, he'll even make something edible. That's crazy. This dog is staring blankly into the snow, waiting for it to turn to art. Aware of dog. Please pet dog. Knowing that the dog will never give up trying to make the perfect snow dog, it fills you with determination. Alright, let's go. That dog considers itself an artist, but it doesn't even know doesn't ever know what to create. It probably doesn't help that the brain is the size of a piece of kibble. Hey, I got a hat. What's up? Say, are you following me? Grifftrot. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Let's go. Wait. Oh, I'm gonna look up how to fight Glider. I'm gonna look up how to fight Glider. How to fight Glider. Glide Undertale. Oh, so I need to wait there for 3 minutes? Okay. So what do y'all want to talk about? We have to wait here for 3 minutes. So, crazy, right? Yeah. Glide and So Sorry are 2 fights. Yeah, that's crazy. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, So Sorry is that guy. Yeah, we're here for 3 minutes. It's not that bad. We're still waiting. I'm gonna tell other people to join. The stream. believe we have to wait 3 minutes. This is crazy, y'all. Who's still here? I can't believe I have to wait for like 3 minutes. Ah! I'm gonna fall asleep, bro. I'm gonna lay down, bro. Like, I'll hear if anything happens. I think I'm gonna crash out. It says wait 3 minutes, so I'm waiting. Sorry, see the clock, man. Move! Hold on. Wait. Walk around for 3 minutes? You can't just stand around for 3 minutes? Okay, so I need to walk around for 3 minutes. Ah! I have to walk for 3 minutes. Whoa! Hey, I got it! I got it! I got it! Finally! Oh my gosh! Finally! Dang. Okay. Ah, come on! No! Don't make me wait again, bro! Don't make me wait again! Don't make me wait again! Please, don't make me wait again. Stop! And I have to move around for 3 more minutes, bro. I have ADHD, bro. I can't do this. No! Oh my god, bro. I have ADHD, bro. I can't be doing this. I have to go back to Grifftrot Cave. Wait, actually, first I'm gonna save because Grifftrot. Oh, that's great. I'm gonna go and save first. If I can! All I have to do is just not beat Papyrus, that's it. So I can save, I just can't fight Papyrus yet. Oh gosh, it's a greater dog. Greater dog! go. And then back. Bro! Yay! We did it. Hey! Oh. Human! Oh!
Human! This is your final and most dangerous challenge. Behold, the gauntlets of deadly terror. When I say the word, it will fully activate. Cannons will fire, spikes will swing, blades will slice. Each part will swing violently up and down. Only the tiniest chance of victory will remain. Are you ready? Because I am about to do it! Well, what's the hold up? Hold up! What's hold up? I'm about to activate it now. That, doesn't look very activated. Well, this challenge, it seems maybe too easy to meet. I am a skeleton with standards. My puzzles are very fair, and my traps are expertly cooked. But this method is too direct. No class at all. Away it goes. Phew. What are you looking at? This was another win for the Great Papyrus. Eh?
We gotta save, man. Alright, we gotta go back. Ice Cap and Snow Drink and then Jerry. Nice. Let's go. Now we're gonna go back. We gotta save. We saved, so we're going back. Must be bigger on the inside. Dogman's house. Alright, let's go. Oh! Alright! I want to do this again. Oh! I'm gonna play some music. got it! Dang. Okay. Shoot! No! Ah! I don't want to do this. This is so annoying. I'm just so mad, bro. Because I did all that. I did everything I was supposed to do. And I still lost. Yes, I know it's a state of the servant. We know. Let's go back. You know, we need... I'm gonna take some stuff out. I think I'm gonna eat the nice curry. And the nice. Who is it? It's Yoshida! He's back! My guy, he's back. Okay. I'm gonna eat a monster candy. We need to get the flipping manly bandana. Okay, so here's my plan. Okay? Item. We swap it for the band-aid, right? We go in our box, right? We have the tough glove. We go for the bandage and we put it in there. Because that bandage gives us a 10 plus XP. It gives us more XP. So... So just try, like, the bandage gives us plus 10 HP. So we're not gonna use that right now, but we do have the manly bandana. So that is good. Yeah, Jerry just left. What's up, Yoshi here? Welcome back. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore him. Oh no, he came back. Yay! We did you, Jerry. We don't care about Jerry, okay? Jerry's just not it. So, what we have to do is we have to go down here. And we have to confront Glide. I'm gonna run away. Actually, no. Ooh! go. I better heal up, bro. Hey! Welcome to the stream! It's my favorite Fortnite player that I played with that one time. My favorite Fortnite player. Well, one of my favorites. I'm playing Undertale. We're playing Undertale. Undertale just had its 10th anniversary. So we're doing Undertale. Now I have to walk around for like 3 minutes because like I'm trying to get a secret boss. How do I keep getting... Is it because, like, I got a follow on Twitch? Excuse me. Yeah. I'll reload my Twitch chat. Moving around for 30 minutes. I don't know what to do. I'm literally just so bored right now because there is no flippin'. Ah! Oh, because I got a follower. 25 followers! We at 25 followers! Let's go! We're trying to get to 100 now. No, not 100. We're trying to get to 50 now. It's gonna take a while. I'm sorry. I'm gonna fall asleep, bro. I got it. All right, let's go. All right, what am I supposed to do? It says that I am supposed to. Okay, so I have to do it twice. Okay. Upload. So this is flowery practice as well. Upload again. Do nothing. Woo! Do I go for it? Give me a monster candy. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa! Okay, I'm gonna eat another monster. Okay. Nothing. I'm cruising. Okay, hold on. And then I did it! Let's go! I beat Glide. Glide is done. Let's go. Glide is done. Yay! We beat Glide. Alright, let's go beat Papyrus and then let's go to Waterfall and I don't know, man. Hey Yoshio, you're still Yoshio, Eagle, you guys are still here, right? You guys should be, right? Yeah, y'all chat if you're still here! Yay! Another one. Oh, this is gonna hurt. I'm dead. Oh, I'm not dead. Okay. Snowdrake is puffed up. I like that pun. I'm gonna laugh at it. Woo! Ah! Ooh, I survived. Let's go. Let's freaking go. I survived. Brother. Ah, bro, I'm good. Leave me alone. Alright. Let's go. We made it to Snowdin again! Yay! I just lost all my monster candy, but it's okay. We're gonna get the cinnamon bun. Oh, let's go. Since this is being played on PC and not the flippin'. Yo! On.
Yo, you're a kid too, right? I can tell because you're wearing a striped shirt.
Okay. Yeah, let's go. We are going to do the Please Give Me the Wrong Number song. Let's play Monsters and Humans. You aren't gonna make me be the human again, aren't you? Oh, it's the ice guy right there. Check if the sound test room is there. Where's the sound test room? Oh yeah, it's not there. Ah, that's the sound test room. I wonder if you can manipulate your flippin' values. It's locked. I just went all the way back. We have to go into the back of Sans house. We have to go to the back of Sans house. So we have to save up, not for Temmie armor, but now we have to save up for the key that they have in Hotland. Yo! Ugh! Let's freaking go.
Human! Allow me to tell you about some complex feelings. Feelings like the joy of finding another pasta lover, the admiration for another puzzle solver skills, the desire to have a cool, smart person think you are cool. These feelings, they must be what you're feeling right now. I can hardly imagine what it must be like to feel that way. After all, I am very great. I don't ever wonder what having lots of friends is like. I pity you, lonely human. Worry not, you shall be lonely no longer. I, the great Papyrus, will be your... No, this is all wrong. I can't be your friend. You are a human. I must capture you. Then I can fulfill my lifelong dream. Powerful, popular, prestigious. That's Papyrus. The newest member of the Royal Guard.
Hey, we fighting Papyrus, bro. You know what we gotta do, bro? Gonna flirt. Hold up. Hey. Listen. You, me, dinner, somewhere soon, please. Hold on, let me cook. You, me, somewhere, dinner, please. Pizza. Y'all don't do it like y'all used to. Okay. So you finally reveal your ultimate feelings. Well, I'm a skeleton with very high standards. I can make spaghetti. Oh no, you're meeting all my standards. I guess this means I have to go on a date with you. Why is it dating? Let's date later, after I capture you. That's not how that works, bro. You know what? I'll let you hit me. Because I'm nice. Papyrus is thinking about what to wear for his date.
So you won't fight? Then let's see if you can handle my favorite blue attack.
Whoa! You're blue now. That's my attack. You're blue now.
I wonder what I should wear.
Bro is still reminiscing about that date. Like, it's gonna happen, but still, we need some pizza first.
What? I'm not thinking about that thing.
Yes, you were. Like, and how did you even know I was talking about it, bro? Just a little bit easier on keyboard.
Hold up longer to jump.
Thank you, Papyrus. Bro, Papyrus is literally like the nicest character. Papyrus and Toriel are like the best characters.
Yeah, don't make me use my special attack.
Wait, Papyrus stabs MTT brand anime powder behind his ear. Really?
I can almost taste my future popularity.
I mean, popular. You're gonna be popular. Oh yeah, you thought you was gonna hit me with that.
Papyrus, head of the Royal Guard.
Oh yeah, you got me with that one. Yeah, you got me with that one.
Papyrus, unprepared spaghettor.
Whatever it's called, I don't know. Woo! Yeah, you tried. Oh? Yeah, you tried. Y'all tried.
Undyne will be really proud of me.
Who is this Undyne, bro? Like, I know who the character is, but I'm just acting blind.
The king will trim a head in the shape of my smile.
Did you hit me?
My brother will.
Well, he won't change very much. Hey, who joined stream? Chat if you joined. Chat if you joined. Oh my god, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care about cheap followers, bro. I don't care, bro. I make my own followers. Papyrus is rattling his bones.
I'll have lots of admirers.
Oh. 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 Oh.
Will anyone like me as sincerely as you?
Yeah. Oh, Sans.
Someone like you is hard to find.
Yeah, I know that's what he was gonna say. Oh, I didn't know that was there.
The dating might be kind of fun.
Oh, I shouldn't have.
After you're captured and sent away.
Okay, cinnamon.
Ah! Who cares? Give up! Give up or face my special attack! Yeah, very soon I will use my special attack.
You're not gonna use it, bro. Like, you're not. Hey, spam W's in the chat if you're having fun.
Not too long and I will use this special attack.
I'm not gonna die.
This is your last warning! Behold my special attack!
Oh, I can't get hit by it. Okay, cool.
What the heck?
Another one. Wow, there are a lot of stuff.
That's my special attack. Hey, you stupid dog! Do you hear me? Stop munching on that bone! Hey, what are you doing? Come back here with my special attack!
Oh well, I'll just use a really cool regular attack. With 8 HP. Let's go. Uh-oh! I'm gonna die. Whoa! I did not see that one coming. Oh, that looks so cool.
Well, it's clear you can't defeat me. Yeah, I can see you shaking your boots. Therefore, I, the great papyrus, elect to grant you pity. I will spare you, human. Now's your chance to accept my mercy.
Imagine I just click this and I fight him and I like literally just like do it. I'm not gonna do that because I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice person. I'm a nice person. What? I can't even stop someone as weak as you.
You guys are really disappointed in me. I never done it.
And my friend quantity will name stagnant. I mean, I guess. Yeah. 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 Let me go. Just let me go. I'm not doing anything else. Just let me go. Just let me go. I'm not doing anything else today. I'm tired. I'm not doing anything else today. No, just let me go. I'm not doing anything else today. Oh! Let me go. 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 I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. Let me go. Oh, shoot. Yo, you know what I might do? I might play some Smash. Because I haven't been playing Smash lately. And that's probably what I need to. I need to be playing Smash. Like, that's just like the number one thing. I be playing Smash. Instead of just like randomly generated stuff. I need to be playing Smash. And here we go. Yeah. Yeah. You know exactly where you know exactly. Nope. Nope. Yup. If not, huh?
What are you listening to in the headphones?
Headphones? Oh, it's the music from the game. I'm about to crash out in Melee. Ooh! You gotta be kidding me! There's no way! 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 There's no way! There's no way! There's no way! First match of the day! There's no way! First match of the day! First match of the day! There's no way! First match of the day! First match of the day! There's no way!
Why are you talking so
First match of the day! There's no way!
Why are you talking so loud?
Cause
What?
first match of the day. There's no way. I'm gonna... No! I can't let this happen, bro. No! Wait, it's not showing! Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's not showing. Okay, hold on. And I can't exit. I can't exit. Cause I'm flipping, trying to... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I can't... It's not showing. It's not showing! I hate it. Game capture. What is it? Dolphin. Yes. Please. Hey, we got it! Now I'm gonna get my Xbox controller back. Yeah, I might be dead. Yeah, I might be dead. There's no way. Okay. Okay. Oh, he was waiting on that. Yep, that's gotta be out. Like, there's no way. Yeah, I missed my jump. Ah, I missed my jump. I hate everything. I missed my jump. I'm getting cooked. I might actually lose my first match. Ah, that ledge. Yeah, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. That was a good move. No! Bring me back down! Bring me back down! That's out! No! Ah! I gotta... One more. Alright, that first match of the day. First match of the day. That's crazy. A Mewtwo! That's weird. I have not seen a Mewtwo on here. I just have not seen a Mewtwo on here. Yeah, man, you ain't coming back, bro. Bro, the grab is crazy. What? I think this is the reason why I have not played Mewtwo yet. If I literally just have to use eggs in order to defeat this Mewtwo, I'm gonna crash out. Bro, he's chasing me for grabs. He's chasing me for grabs. No, he's chasing me for bags. He's chasing me for grabs. He's chasing me for grabs. Nope. Nope. I'm not taking that. Nope. No, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Nope, I'm not taking that. Nope. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Nope. 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 You can't just like I'm not taking that. Nope, that wrong move. Wrong move. I'm not taking that. Big no. I'm not taking that. Gex fan. Oh, like the lizard Gex. Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Let me. Okay, this is why I hate these characters because they always just want to nibble in. Okay, I might actually be a little bit better because fire. Did he just cancel me? He canceled me. That's crazy. Okay. Move. Show big ass. With your big behind sword, bro. Move. Stop spamming. Stop spamming! Alright. I can't... Bro, it's not that I'm a sore loser. It's just that I cannot play against these characters, bro. Like, if someone was online right now, I know exactly... I definitely pop! Top truck driver! I repeat chat though. 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 I was gonna... Dang, he got me there, he got me there. Jigglypuff and her flipping... There we go. Oh, I actually made a comeback. Yes! Oh, that was good. You can finally get me out. Ooh, nice. Oh, I got lucky! There's no way! That's out! Yes, sir! That's out. Let's go. Next. Alright, she zeroed me. Alright, he's here. Jigglypuff zeroed me out. Okay, I'm losing. No! Oh, I sold! Yep, I sold. Dang it, I sold. Let me see if a certain... Nope, not on. Nope. Hey, chat, if you're still here! This is just wrong. Memes? Nice. Ain't no way! 2 in 1 day! 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 Nah. 2 in 1 day. 2 in 1 day. 2 in 1 day. One v one. All right. Wait! Whoa! What was that? I'm already at a disadvantage anyways. Yeah, I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm already at a disadvantage. No! Gotta go. Alright, see you. Dr. Mario. Nice snipe. Nice. That's out! GG's, Mario! Yep. GG's, Mario. Unless you want to play again. GG's, Mario. Okay, wants to play again. Let's go. This round don't count. I just need practice. Yeah, this is a W, alright. This is a big W. That don't count. That round don't count, man. That round don't count, man. That round don't count. Woo! Captain Falcon. You gotta be kidding me, right? What was that? What was that? Yeah, call it a game. Please give me somebody else. Oh my gosh. Dr. Mario. Nice! Nice! I see you, bro. Nice! Ah, he left. Oh man, he left. That was a good... That was a good one. That was good. Hey, if you're still here, chat. Oh, Falco. Oh, I'm lagging badly. Hold on, I'm lagging badly. Hold on, guys, I'm lagging badly. Yeah, man, I was just lagging badly. Bro, I don't know what happened. I think I might reset Smash. Yeah, I'm gonna reset Smash, bro. I'm gonna reset it. Cause something's up with it and it's just not working. Ride or die. Ride or die, bro. Ride or die. Ooh, Luigi. Oh, I did that! I did that! Whoa, what kind of... It's alright, I got you in the bag. Yeah, don't play with me, bro. Alright. That's cool and all, but like, we're still at 72. Bro, this feels like moon jumping. Get out of there. Yeah. Hold on. I got that. That's gone. 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 Let's go. Again. 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 I'm not too far behind. Nice. Yeah, just fall off. Thank you. Yeah, you gone. As long as I get a bit of... Dang. I can't come back. Yep, I can't come back. Nope, it's over. Nope, I ain't coming back. If I would have made that, if that hit would have aligned. I'll go for one more. Oh, he left. He just wanted to win. Oh, it's a marsh. Nice. I gotta take the loss, bro. Samus, nice. Oh no. Not the door bombs! I've played a Samus long enough to know that they spam bombs. Yeah, that's out, bro. Yeah, I'll take that loss. Oh! That was cheap. Try to get some action. Nope. That's out. Yaha. Nice. But I'm still here for a limited time. I'm gonna get knocked off in 3, 2, 1. Yep, I called my own death. Wow, I called my own death. Crazy. Oh! comeback! What a comeback! What a comeback! What a comeback! Come on! What a comeback! By the man, the myth, the legend himself. What a comeback! I want another match. One more, I bet. Nah, first one? Okay. Yeah, make it fair, make it fair, make it fair. Alright, let's go. Dang! I will let that slide because I messed up. Just gotta make a comeback. Just gotta make a comeback now, that's all. Dang! Yeah, it's wraps. I can't win! Yeah. It's wraps. I can't win. I'll take that. That was a pretty good comeback. That was a pretty good comeback. That was a pretty good comeback. Oh, that was so good though. Please, just play me. Just play me. Just play me, because I'm at... Huh? Alright. Give me a second. Oh, wait. Alright, give me a second. I will be right back. Stream's over.